Welcome to the NNCPPC Department of Parks and Recreation's celebration of Mental Health Awareness Week. Throughout the first week of October, join us for free virtual and in-person fitness classes, workshops, speakers, and trainings. Enjoy this interactive session where you will gain knowledge and tools on how to take care of your mental well-being. Be sure to share what you learned in this session with a friend or family member.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our celebration of Mental Health Awareness Week. My name is Yolanda Galloway, and I am a Health and Wellness Coordinator with the Department of Parks and Recreation. Before we begin, let's go over a few housekeeping items. You should see a microphone icon at the bottom of your screen like you see here. You will need to click this icon to mute yourself. We would ask that you remain muted to limit any distractions during our program. Next, I want to draw your attention to the camera icon. You will use this to turn your camera off and on. Please be mindful that when your camera is on, all participants joining us this evening will be able to see your screen. You have the option to keep your camera on or off, but remember, we want to minimize distractions throughout the program and keep the focus on the presentation being provided. Next, I would like to show you how to pin a participant. To do this, you would need to click on the Show Participants icon. In the Participants column, select the individual you want to view on your screen, then click or tap the three dots icon to reveal the menu. Excuse me. From the drop-down menu, select Pin for Me. The pin participant becomes the focus in your view and only your view, regardless of who is speaking. And to unpin, you repeat these three steps and select Unpin. Next, I would like to draw your attention to another Teams feature. You can turn on live captions during the meeting. To do this, you'll click on the three dots for more options. Then you can scroll down to find the option that says Turn on live captions. Then you will start to see captions at the bottom of your screen, and you can choose to use this feature if you need to. The last icon I want to tell you about is the chat icon. This will allow you to ask questions, make comments, and engage throughout the program. To type a question or a comment, you'll just click on the icon like the one you see on the screen, and this will bring up the chat box like what you see on the next slide you'll see here. And once you see the chat box, as you see on the screen here, you'll just type your question or comment in the space, and then you can hit enter and we'll see it on the screen. And so feel free to ask questions, make comments throughout, and we're looking forward to a great discussion on tonight. So without further ado, I want to introduce and bring back our trained professional for the evening. Melanie Burdick is a registered dietitian, licensed dietitian nutritionist, certified diabetes care and education specialist, certified specialist in obesity and weight management. She is also a certified personal trainer. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Diabetes from Eastern Michigan University and a Master of Science in Applied Nutrition from the University of New England. She believes in practical steps to improving health and wellness where no foods are off limits. I love that. Welcome back, Melanie.
Thank you, Yolanda. It's always good to be here. I'm just going to take a moment and I'm going to switch my, I think I made, I clicked on something I shouldn't have clicked on. Oh, we'll try this again. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Teams is moving faster than I am tonight. Here we go. All right. So thank you so much for that nice introduction. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week. I know for me, I know at the beginning of the week, it was a little rainy, a little dreary, but today was just such a nice breath of fresh air to see the sunshine. So I hope everyone was able to take in the beautiful sunlight this afternoon. And again, I am Melanie Burdick. I am a registered dietitian and a member of the Healthy Living team. And I'll tell you a little bit more about our services at the end of the presentation today. I am based in the Baltimore area, so just right up the road. And tonight we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics. And let me know in the chat Are you a fan of sleep? Do you love to nap? Let me know, because this is one of my favorite things to talk about. And in this cooler weather, it sounds great to me. So let me know if you're a napper in the chat. All right, Yolanda is a napper. Absolutely. Cold, wintry day, it just seems really, really nice. So tonight we're going to talk about all right. So Lisa naps. Oh, I'll take a nap too. Absolutely. And Aline says yes. All right. Everyone's a good napper. Excellent. I come from a family of nappers, so we all appreciate a good nap. But on the menu tonight, we're going to talk about why sleep is so, so important. And then we'll also talk about sleep supporting foods, maybe some things that you can put on your menu throughout the day and to snack on in the evening that can actually promote sleep and relaxation. And then we'll finalize everything with some tips for great sleep. All right, one of my favorite animals is a koala. So I always just, kind of look at this picture and just so awe. But why do we sleep? Now, koalas, they actually sleep for a good amount of the day. They're only up for a short amount of time compared to humans. But we actually don't have a definitive answer to why we sleep. And there are sleep researchers that spend a lot of time taking a look at all of the benefits. But what we do know is that sleep can really play an important role in our mental health, our cognitive health, and our metabolic health too. And one of the things that we talk about frequently at Giant, we have these different pillars of healthy living. And so we talk about nutrition, we talk about exercise, our physical and emotional health, and sleep is a part of one of those key pillars for our good health. And so, we want to make sure that we can do all we can to get as much as we can. Now, there was a fun little saying from a pioneer sleep researcher, his last name is Rakshafan, and he is quoted as saying, if sleep doesn't serve an absolutely vital function, then it's the biggest mistake the evolutionary process has ever made. So when we spend part of our lives, we spend about 30% or a third of our life in a vulnerable state sleeping. So it definitely serves a very vital purpose. All right. All right. So the big question, how much sleep do we need? So it's roughly estimated that about a third of Americans don't get enough sleep, so less than 7 hours per night. So think about your general sleeping routine. How many hours are you getting on average? I know with a lot of our activity bands, the Apple Watches, they actually record our sleep. I know my watch will tell me what my sleep patterns are. So we get a good idea of what our averages are. Now, the National Sleep Foundation recommends that most Americans get about 7 to 9 hours a night. But what's really fascinating is that even if we get one less hour of sleep per night, maybe we generally get 7.5, but maybe we only get about 6.5 hours of sleep on a night, that actually can start to have negative effects on the body. So it's really, really important. So we want to make sure that we're getting quality sleep, and we'll talk more about the different types of sleep in the next few slides. All right. So really, when we think about sleep, it's really important for both your physical and your mental health productivity and really your quality of life. And I always think about my cell phone. We have our cell phones with us all the time, but even our cell phone needs time to regenerate and take a rest. We usually plug it in at night, and so it can boost up its energy. So that's sort of something that I think about when I think about sleep. That's what sleep is doing for the body. It is helping us re-energize. And what we know too is that regular sleep can help with our immune health. We've been talking a lot over the last few years about keeping our immunity strong, especially, in relation to COVID-19. But actually, we are 4 times more likely to catch a cold if we've been exposed to different types of bacteria or illnesses, if we've had a poor night's sleep, so your body can't work as hard as if it was well rested. Now, other things that can help us as well when it comes to good sleep, focus. When we think about getting a good night's sleep, then we're focused, we're ready to go, we can concentrate on our work, our emails, whatever we need to do throughout the day to be productive. Ooh. I'm just going to pause here 1 second. My screen just changed. Bear with me, everyone. Teams, again, just when I think I've mastered it. There we go. I clicked something and it changed my view for a second. Now, another thing that's really important too, getting regular night's sleep can help with your memory as well. I know I have a hard enough time trying to remember where I put my car keys, so having a good night's sleep can make it just a little bit easier. And then, of course, think about your mood. We can all think back to a time when we didn't have a very good night's sleep and we truly woke up on the wrong side of the bed. We've all heard that term. But we know that a good night's sleep allows you to feel energized, and that's an ultimate mood booster. And then lastly, too, getting a good night's sleep. Again, you're allowing your body to recharge, and that can help you as you go through the next day feeling reinvigorated. All right, so there's actually some impact when it comes to poor sleep. So we see negative effects of sleep deprivation when we have about 6 hours of sleep or less a night. And so there are actually 5 behaviors that the CDC lists that you can do to decrease your risk of developing chronic diseases. And many of these we already know. So 1, not smoking, getting regular physical activity, really trying to be careful with our alcohol consumption or minimizing or having no alcohol consumption, and then having a healthy weight. And the last one, making sure that you get plenty of sleep a night. So really aiming for those 7 hours. So sleep is really this important backbone when it comes to our health. Now, we know that there are risks when we don't have enough sleep that can impact our appetite hormones, and that can actually cause us to eat more when we're tired. Also, too, developing diabetes. A lack of sleep may impact the metabolism of glucose and our insulin sensitivity, so that might increase our risk of developing either prediabetes or diabetes. And also, too, other factors that can come about with lack of sleep, heart disease as well. It doesn't allow, when we don't have the right type of sleep, we're not getting that time to regenerate and recoup, and it doesn't allow our blood pressure to decrease overnight. So a lot of things that we need to be mindful of. Now, something that's very interesting, adults over the age of 45, they get about 6 hours or less of sleep per night are about 200 times more likely to have a heart attack, which is pretty amazing when you hear those numbers. And so we definitely want to make sure that we are getting plenty of sleep. Also, other things. We may not think about this from time to time, but when we're driving and we're sleepy, we can actually fall asleep at the wheel. Not getting enough sleep can decrease our reaction time, and that can cause accidents as well. We start to see an increase in accidents when we have the time change, when we fall back with the clocks as well. So definitely some negative impacts of poor sleep. All right. So really, what drives our body and our sleep? So we have some sort of circadian rhythm. And so this is our internal clock that really helps your body carry out all of the essential functions, things that we don't even think about on a daily basis. So it's sort of like in the morning when a flower starts to notice the sunlight, it starts to open and then it starts to close at those nighttime hours. That's flowers following their circadian rhythm. And so the same thing happens with humans. And so with our circadian rhythm, this as we go throughout the 24-hour clock, different times of the day, we see hormone release, we see changes in our digestion, our eating habits, and sleep, which is really, really important. And so this is really, something to be aware of. Now, what's really fascinating is that as we go throughout the day, our brain starts to produce a product called adenosine. And what it is, it actually binds to receptors in our brain, and it causes us to feel a little bit more sleepy. So, that time after lunch, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where we get a little bit sleepy and, it's been a few hours since we woke up, that's because that adenosine is starting to bind. And this is also called sleep pressure. So as you're awake longer and as that adenosine builds, that pressure that you feel ready to go to bed, that's that adenosine building. Pretty fascinating. Now, one last thing too that we hear a lot about when it comes to sleep is that's melatonin. And this is actually produced by your body. And actually what it does, it sort of just tells your body that it's time for sleep. It's that time of the evening. It's actually not a sleep aid. It's just triggered by those light and dark cycles throughout the day. And, your body is getting ready to kind of hunker down for the evening. Now, one of the fascinating things is that we actually can find sources of melatonin in our diet. So, and we'll talk a little bit more in the next few slides, but foods that have are bananas, nuts, and cherries are actually natural sources of melatonin. So we might even be eating these items on a regular basis. And now you know that this can help with those sleep cycles as well. All right. What's really fascinating is that, our body does a lot while we're asleep, and we don't even know what's going on. So there are actually two different types of sleep. We have rapid eye movement. So you may have heard of that. That's called REM, or abbreviated as REM. And then we have non-rapid eye movement, which is NREM. And so we have NREM that covers the first 3 stages of sleep. So the first stage is sort of that light stage of sleep, when you're starting to relax and you're starting to just kind of settle down for the evening. And then as we get more comfortable, we go into stage 2. And this is where, it's a little bit harder to wake up. Your body temperature starts to change, your body relaxes, and your heart rate and your breathing slow down as well. So your body is just trying to rest. And then stage 3 is when we have tissue repair, muscle growth and repair, and this is when the immune system can be strengthened as well. And this is where a lot of that deep sleep starts to happen as well. So again, this is allowing your body during the NREM stages. This is where you slow your breathing and it really allows your body to recover from stress from the day before. Now, the last stage, stage 4, is REM sleep. And so again, it's a rapid eye movement. So during this stage, your brain, the activity is increasing and you have more of those vivid dreams. Now, if anyone's a dreamer, let me know in the chat. Do you wake up and remember your dreams? Do you have a recurring dream? Let me know. I never remember mine. And when I dream, I just, I wish I could. So during REM sleep too, this is where we have a lot of brain activity, and really this is where our muscles are very relaxed. And so this is this is the area of sleep that really helps with our cognitive function, our memory, and our learning. All right, Adeline remembers her dreams. Sometimes, I wake up and I think, what in the world just happened? And then I tend to forget it as the morning goes along. So some people have some really vivid dreams. Now, what happens overnight too? So we move through these stages. We will cycle through all of these different stages about every 90 minutes or so. So what's fascinating is that we don't stay in one all night. We kind of just go around and we sort of like a clock. We hit the different stages as well, which is really, really quite fascinating. All right, so let's talk about sleep and weight. I mentioned this earlier, but this is really, really fascinating research. So there's actually research to show that there is a 50% higher risk of obesity if you sleep on average of 5 hours a night or less. Really, really fascinating. Now, there's a lot of hormonal changes that are happening in your body. So when we sleep at night, this allows our body, like I mentioned, to kind of relax, regroup, re-energize, but it also allows your brain and your gut hormones to kind of go in sync. And so what happens on a regular night's sleep, your appetite hormones, they kind of reset. So your ghrelin hormone is your appetite hormone. And that's an easy one to remember because your stomach growls. And your leptin hormone, which is your satiety or your fullness hormone, goes down or goes up, excuse me. So nice and balanced. But what happens with sleep deprivation is that ghrelin levels, so that hunger hormone, goes up and that satiety hormone goes down. Not a good combination. And so just take a moment and think about your experiences over the last few years. Has there ever been a time where you've been really sleep deprived, or maybe you were up in the middle of the night taking care of a young one, or didn't get a good night's sleep because you were traveling? Did you notice any changes in your appetite? Let me know in the chat. Oftentimes people don't realize it, but it's because we have those appetite hormones increasing. And so what they have also found in these sleep deprivation studies is that individuals that don't get a lot of sleep, they're hungry, but they want all of those yummy carbohydrates. So sweets, treats, maybe high fat items or convenience items. And so people that are sleep deprived will eat about 300 or more calories a day. Oh yeah, so sometimes people wake up if they haven't eaten enough too. Absolutely. We're all a little bit different. So definitely when you think about your appetite, take a moment and think about their sleep cycles as well. Now also too, when we think about feeling tired and groggy throughout the day, we might not feel as energetic. We may not want to exercise. And again, that increases our sedentary activity, and then we're not burning off those additional calories. So definitely this is just something really fascinating science. All right. So one of the great things when we think about food choices, we always are encouraging customers to focus on items that are minimally processed and nutrient rich. And one of the really great things is that when we have this diet that's really balanced with lots of fruits and vegetables, lean protein and grains, these provide so many benefits for our entire body. We chatted earlier this week. Many of these items not only help with your sleep, but also help with your mood. So you might say, hey, I'm already eating these items already. So it's really amazing to see how they overlap. Now, what are some foods that we can put on our plate that really can be beneficial for sleep? And so we are probably very familiar with lean proteins. And again, lean proteins contain tryptophan. And so this is actually a building block for the sleep-related neurotransmitter serotonin. And so serotonin is known as that happy chemical. So it really helps you feel loved and welcome. And also it can impact your sleep and memory. So when we have low levels of serotonin, we might not be able to focus as well. We might not have the greatest mood, and we may not be making all of that melatonin as well too. So one of the things that we can do to help keep those serotonin levels high is to make sure that we're getting things that contain tryptophan. Now we're getting into Thanksgiving and we hear a lot about tryptophan when it comes to Thanksgiving, but you're going to find tryptophan in those lean protein items. So turkey, eggs, chicken, nuts, and seeds. And generally when we think about Thanksgiving, it's not the turkey that's making us sleepy, it's all that food. Also, these wonderful lean proteins, they provide other items like vitamin B6, magnesium that really help your body convert that tryptophan to serotonin too. So really, really important. Now, other things, complex carbohydrates. We hear a lot about these on a regular basis. Complex carbs means that those grains are intact. Nothing has been stripped away. So it provides protein, starch, and fiber that really provide your body all the nutrients that it needs. Now, complex carbohydrates also provide vitamin B6 and niacin, which really help, again, to convert that tryptophan into serotonin. So really, really helpful. Now, vitamin B6 I've mentioned as well. So you're going to find that in bananas, carrots, and spinach. And this actually can help support your immune health and your cognitive function. And of course, that sleep benefit as well too. So again, we might be making a sandwich with whole grain bread or having whole wheat crackers. All of these food items are giving us so many valuable nutrients. Now, other things that are beneficial for sleep too. We hear a lot about heart healthy fats, especially for our heart health. But omega-3 fatty acids actually can help with that production of serotonin as well. So if you had any avocado oil or safflower oil, olive oil, any nuts or seeds, or any type of fatty fish like salmon or mackerel, those are great options as well too. And many of these items contain magnesium, which actually can help with stress levels and sleep quality as well too. So again, there's all of this amazing overlap. All right. Do we have any coffee drinkers in the house? Did anyone have their coffee today? I know I certainly did. All right, B had hers, Yolanda had hers. All right. So we know that this is just kind of that routine that we have. And so let's talk about caffeine. So it is a stimulant. And so this is going to impact your sleep quality. Now, what's really fascinating is that caffeine actually mimics that adenosine that I mentioned. So I mentioned earlier that as we go through the day, our brain starts to have an increased level of adenosine, which is, again, promotes that sleep. Well, what caffeine does, it actually is has a very similar molecular structure. And what it does, it actually fights those receptors and allows your body to stay awake longer too. So it helps minimize the buildup of that adenosine. And so this is what gives you kind of that morning pick me up. Now, one of the most important things is that, coffee has a half-life when we think about the caffeine of about 5 to 6 hours. So if we have an afternoon cup of coffee at about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, it might still be in our system at 8 o'clock at night too. So you definitely want to be mindful of that. If you are sensitive to caffeine, try to cut off before noon. That way you can get a good night's sleep. Now, also too, other things that may be sneaky when it comes to caffeine, iced tea, hot tea, or other caffeinated beverages too. We want to make sure that we minimize those as much as possible. Now, how much caffeine should we have per day? Some people can be sensitive. Some people might notice that they get a little bit more jittery. But for the general population, about 400 milligrams is the recommendation. And that's about 4 to 5 cups of coffee, depending on the size of your coffee cup. All right. All right. So one of the things that we have available at Giant that really can help guide you through the aisles and find items not only that promote sleep, but also improve your mood and help with your overall heart health, your weight management, there is our Guiding Stars program. So Guiding Stars is an easy nutritional rating program that rates products based on their nutritional quality. So the more fiber, more protein, more heart healthy fats, the more stars a product will receive. And I'll highlight a few products on the next slide that receive Guiding Stars. So as you're shopping, if you're looking for things that are more nutrient dense and give back to your body, just see if any of the items in your cart have those Guiding Star ratings. You'll find them on the shelf tag right below the price on the shelf. Now, just briefly, on the other side of the screen here, we have our sustainability program called How Good. So if you're concerned about products, manufacturing, the impact on the environment, this is another wonderful resource as well. Again, 1, 2, or 3 leaves, another great way to see how that company or product impacts the environment. And you'll find them in the same place right on that shelf tag below the price on the shelf. All right, so let's talk about some foods that are yummy and tasty and can help promote that sleep as well too. So again, like I mentioned earlier, those complex carbohydrates that can help boost your serotonin levels. So having something like a little bit of popcorn or a little bit of cereal before bed or whole wheat crackers, that would be something that you could enjoy to help build those levels. Nuts or seeds, another great option too. This is going to help give you a boost of that melatonin and help you relax before bed. So it could be walnuts or almonds, peanuts. Again, you're also going to get those heart healthy fats as well in there too. Just want to be careful on the portion size because they can add up really quickly. Now, other things, cottage cheese. If we have any cottage cheese fans, let me know. I'm a big fan of cottage cheese. Is another great source of protein and tryptophan, again, which will help with those serotonin levels. And so this is something that we could have again as a snack or add it to our day to really get that boost of tryptophan. So having that with some berries or some nuts would be a great combination. Now, other things too that are available, kiwis, another great option too. There's been some studies that found that individuals who ate 2 kiwis before bed actually increased their sleep duration over the course of a month. So adding in kiwis, they're very tasty. Something else that you could do as part of your evening snack, but certainly other wonderful fruits that are filled with great antioxidants, berries, prunes or raisins, apples are a great way to get in those extra antioxidants. Now, it's finally tea season, I'm happy to say. If you're a tea drinker, nothing like a nice warm cup of tea in the evening, but something else that can promote sleep, of course, really any of our caffeine-free teas, chamomile, or even sleepy time tea. This is a great way to sort of get into that ritual, and your body knows, okay, when I'm having my tea, my day is ending. I'm going to kind of slow things down for the day and helps you relax too. Now, other things too, if you grew up and your parents encouraged you to have a warm glass of milk to help promote sleep, this is also something that can be beneficial. Again, it's going to be a source of tryptophan to help with that serotonin level as well too. Plus, I think there's also something just that psychological connection from your childhood, which can make you feel relaxed as well too. So some wonderful things that we can utilize. Now, there's also been some research too about tart cherry juice that also can help promote sleep as well. So if you're looking for some items to enjoy either as part of your dinner or as part of that evening snack, these are some great things that you can look for. All right. Has anyone ever felt like this? We've probably had a day where we weren't so energized, but we definitely want to make sure that we try to break this cycle. All right, Yolanda, you've been there. All right, I think I've been there. So we want to think about how we can kind of break this cycle. So when we think about having poor sleep, then that's going to impact our nutritional choices. And this may make us feel a little more drowsy and may not want to go to the gym. And then oftentimes too, with that sleep deprivation, again, we're seeing those changes in those appetite hormones. We might have a craving for something to give us some extra pep in our step to get through the day. So we might say, oh, I'll just have some chocolate. I deserve this. I've had a really rough 24 hours. I didn't get a lot of sleep. And then we might choose to have caffeine as an additional pick-me-up as we go through the day, which again will stay in our system for about 5 to 6 hours. So you can see that this is a really kind of this cyclical effect that we need to try to break as much as or as best we can. All right, so some ways that we can do that, of course, we want to think about when we're eating, when we're going through the day, that we really try to focus on balance as much as possible. Again, we've probably all seen My Plate, a really great reference for balanced eating. Encourages us to have a half plate of produce, a quarter grains, and a corner of that lean protein or dairy. And again, having a variety of these different items throughout our day is going to give us those antioxidants, that wonderful sources of serotonin and tryptophan that really can help with those the feeling of relaxation as we get ready for our bedtime too. So ideally filling up your plate with these items and really trying to minimize those items that might be highly processed or packaged. All right. Now, sometimes we need a snack before bed. Now, sometimes certain individuals might have a hard time falling asleep if they have food on their stomach, maybe from acid reflux. But sometimes, depending on what time you had dinner, you might feel a little bit hungry before going to bed. So it's okay to have that snack as long, as it isn't too large. So if you're looking for maybe something to have maybe an hour or two before bed, a great combination is combining something with some fiber, like a complex carbohydrate, and a protein. So that could be almonds. That could be walnuts. That could be cereal. These are all great options. You could have cheese and crackers, another great option. And so it might be popcorn with a little bit of Parmesan cheese, you name it. There are lots of things that you can enjoy. Maybe it's a banana with peanut butter. Lots of things that are great options too. And again, we just want to make sure that we are mindful about our nighttime eating, as we can often start to graze or eat a little bit more in those dark hours or while we're watching TV. All right, so there are a lot of disruptors that can impact our sleep. And I'm laughing here because I'm thinking pets or children might be on this list as well. There are a lot of things that can impact our level of sleep. And so one of the first things is the food choices that we're having. So items that are higher in fat, maybe are heavy or processed or really acidic, this can cause, acid reflux or GERD in those evening hours, and that can be really uncomfortable for individuals. So definitely trying to be mindful of those items that might be a little more problematic. Now, again, like I mentioned earlier, being careful about caffeine. So whether it's a carbonated beverage, maybe it's a canned beverage, there's a lot of brewed options that are available. If you like a cold brew coffee that we might enjoy later in the afternoon, we just want to make sure that it is caffeine free or very low in caffeine. Now, other things that can impact us, alcohol. Sometimes you say, hey, a glass of wine will help relax us. Yes, it can help relax us, but it really can throw off your sleep, your ability to fall into those sleep stages. So again, the NREM and REM sleep stages. And so alcohol can really impact that REM stage. So definitely, if you're thinking about having alcohol in the evening, give yourself about 2 hours before bed. That way it can kind of work its way through your system. And then also too, let's talk about medications. There are lots of different side effects that can cause insomnia or fatigue as well on both ends of the spectrum. So definitely looking at all of your medications when you pick them up from the pharmacy, see what the different side effects are. And if you are noticing some of those, talk to your doctor about any other options that could be a nice change for you that have less side effects. And let's talk about technology. Now, I know that none of us, watch TV before bed or read our tablet or read our cell phones. I would never do that, right? No, we're probably all guilty of this. So we do want to be careful of technology. We have lots at our disposal. So definitely closing those tablets, your smartphones, at least 2 hours before bed, because that blue light really mimics daylight and it pushes back your body's ability to release that melatonin in your system that tells your body it's time for bed. So if we're having a hard time sleeping and we're looking at our phone, this can actually promote more sleeplessness. So definitely thinking about that. Now, I know that many new phones, new tablets, new monitors actually have a blue light screen or settings that can help minimize the amount of those rays that are emitted. All right. So when you can, a nap can always be beneficial. Sometimes we need a little pick me up. And sort of when we think about going throughout the day, we might need a snack, maybe between lunch and dinner. Sort of the same thing when it comes to sleep. We might just need a little bit of a break. So if you do like to nap, you do want to make it short, about 20 minutes or so. And we want to have them earlier in the day. That way it doesn't throw off that nighttime sleep. So if you could have a nap before 2 p.m., that's always a great option. Now, one thing that you can do, this is actually a term that one of my colleagues told me about, a nappuccino. And so if you wanted to take a little nap, what some people can do, they might have a cup of coffee, take a 20-minute nap. And then once I see some smiley faces, and then once you've had that quick nap, that again, that caffeine has really moved that adenosine out of your brain and really increased that wakefulness. So you can do a nappuccino. That can be very, very beneficial if you need a little pick-me-up. All right, and just a couple of last considerations before we finish up tonight. Really, sleep hygiene is really important. And really what sleep hygiene means, it means, optimizing the environment around you and building in routines that really can help promote beneficial sleep. So a couple of things we want to keep in mind. We want to keep a consistent sleep schedule and routine. So, just keeping that same routine every day. So I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock. I'm going to brush my teeth, put my slippers on, and then your body knows, okay, it's time for bed as well. Now, also other things, making sure healthy habits, exercise, being active throughout the day, whether it's going to the gym or taking a walk, that's definitely going to help you feel more rested when it gets to the end of the day. And then also too, bedroom environment. So if you have pets, for me, I have dogs. And so sometimes they love to wake you up at the worst time. So really thinking about, your environment in your bedroom. If your dogs are taking up all the room on your bed, maybe they should sleep somewhere else. Is your partner snoring? Are your blankets too hot or too cold? This can really cause big changes in your sleeping ability too. So definitely taking a look around and seeing what things could change. Some things like light, changing to blackout curtains. Some people love to listen to a sound machine if they have a lot of noise outside their window. Those can all be things that are very relaxing too. All right. So as we finish up tonight, just a couple of things to think about after today. Really, when we think about looking at our lifestyle habits, we talk a lot about keeping a food journal, documenting what we eat. But there's another thing we can do is keeping a sleep journal. If you're struggling, you're having a hard time, or you wake up and you look at your watch and it gives you a poor sleep score, you can say, all right, well, what's going on? So this is a great way to backtrack and see, hey, what things am I doing that are impacting my sleep? So writing down or keeping a journal for a few days saying, hey, what did I eat before bed? What time did I go to sleep? What time did I wake up? What are things that are impacting my sleep? Are the dogs getting up in the middle of the night, or is my cat jumping on the bed? What are the things that are really preventing my body from going into that deep sleep? And it's always good, assessment, self-reflection to say, hey, what are a couple things that I could change? Maybe it's just changing the curtains, or maybe it's just turning down the temperature a little bit. That can make such a difference too. So consider keeping a sleep journal for a few days and see what you find. All right. So as we finish up today, just a little more information about what we do at Giant. Again, we have our team, the Healthy Living team. So we cover Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Delaware. We provide free services that are virtual or in person. So we provide free consultations, store tours, webinars, classes in the community, you name it. We also have our Healthy Living by Giant Facebook group, and we recently started on TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, you can follow us at Giant Healthy Living. Another great way to get some healthy living tips. And then, of course, our Healthy Living by Giant podcast, another wonderful resource as well. Now, if you're interested in learning more about sleep, want to look up different things, the National Sleep Foundation is a wonderful resource. You can look up different, if you read something about, a sleep supplement, you can go there, you can take a look and see what the evidence is. You can get tips on, managing insomnia, all those different things. A wonderful, wonderful resource I highly recommend. All right, so as we finish up today, I'll open it up for any Q&A. And of course, you know that at any time you are more than welcome to reach out to us at healthyliving@giantfood.com. We are happy to answer any and all questions and assist you in any way possible. Our goal is to make life easy, less stressful, and manageable for everyone. So I appreciate everyone's time this evening. And if we have any questions, feel free. You can put them into the chat. If not, I will turn it back over to Yolanda.
All right. Thank you, Melanie. That was a good topic. Oh my goodness. I like that. What is it? Nappuccino?
Nappuccino.
I like that. So there are currently no questions in the
Okay.
chat.
Awesome.
So good deal. So thanks as always. Thank you so much. Uh, Everyone, the program recording is available upon request. You can send us an email at wellness at
Mhm.
pgparks.com for that recording. And we would invite you to join us tomorrow as we wrap up our Mental Health Awareness Week activities. Tai Chi. I don't know if any of you have done Tai Chi. We have a wonderful instructor that does that throughout the county. So that's going to be done down at the Tucker Road Athletic Complex tomorrow at noontime. So for those of you who can get out during lunch or are off for whatever reason, join us down there. And then we also have a virtual session tomorrow from Jail to Joy, My Journey with Bipolar. That's going to be taking place at 1 p.m. Via Teams. And then we wrap up on Saturday with the Peace of Mind pop-up and yoga at Watkins Regional Park. So looking forward to that event as well. So to register, you can take a picture of the QR code and where you can see the rest of our events and be able to register to attend. And we thank you all for attending tonight, and we hope you have a great evening. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye bye.